All right, welcome to the Eric J. the Great podcast show. We have a special guest on the show today. We have Kent, professional Michael Jackson tribute performer. How you doing?
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. So for all the people out there, tell the people where you from and how old are you?
Well, my name is Kent Olaf. I'm from Norway. I am 43 years old and I am a professional Michael Jackson tribute artist.
Okay. And what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of your hometown?
Peaceful, quiet.
Mm.
It's very peaceful in Norway. Not a lot of stress.
Oh, that's dope. So, for anybody that never been to Norway, just kind of go in detail, how it was growing up there as a kid slash teenager, some of the struggles and circumstances that you have to go through just growing up there.
Well, for most Norwegians, me included, growing up in Norway is something that I think a lot of people, especially in Europe, can relate to, but there's not a lot of struggles in Norway. Growing up, you get to be a kid, you get to do whatever you want. You have nature all over the place. So Norwegians like to be outside and take a walk in the mountain. There's a lot of mountains in Norway and valleys. So I grew up in a valley in Norway. So for me, it was going outside, playing football, riding my bicycle, and just hanging out with my friends.
Okay. It sounds like a pretty normal childhood.
Yeah.
So did you have a two-parent household, any siblings?
I have a brother, a big brother. My parents divorced when I was 3, so I grew up with my mother, my brother, and my grandmother.
Okay. So what type of activities you was into as a kid? Did you play any organized sports?
Yeah, I played football or soccer, as you call it in the United States. So I was a devoted soccer player, wanted to be a pro. So we played every day. I played for a team, practiced, and that was my ultimate goal. But came to a sudden end when I was 14 years old because of an injury, and my doctor told me to take a break for a year. So I did, and that's how I ended up starting dancing like Michael Jackson.
Okay. So besides Michael Jackson, who was some of your favorite music artists growing up?
Well, when I grew up, my brother and my mother exposed me to a lot of music. My mother mainly pop music, but my brother was a big fan of heavy metal and 80s glam rock and grunge rock. So I listened to a lot of rock bands. So that was kind of like my main musical influence. But I also listened to a lot of music from MTV. I mean, we used to watch MTV every day. I was watching it to see Michael, but got exposed to a lot of different artists. And, I like Prince. I like a lot of different types of music, but rock music has been kind of the main thing I've listened to.
Okay. So Michael Jackson. So who introduced you to Michael Jackson initially? Did you find him on your own or some family, or how did that come about?
Well, that's an interesting story. This happened in 1987. MTV Europe had just launched, and people in Norway were starting to get satellite dishes. And a friend of mine in school told me after school one day, "You have to come home with me because I got something cool to show you." And I was like, "Oh, what you got?" "No, no, just come and I'll show you." And they had bought a satellite dish, and he turned on MTV, and we started watching videos, watching Prince and Madonna, and then Michael came on, and he was like, "Watch this." And that was the bad video, and it was just after it was released. So that was my first time watching Michael. So after that, I started hanging out at his house a lot just to watch videos on MTV and watching Michael Jackson. And eventually, my mother got a satellite dish, so we had MTV at home. So I was glued to the screen, and so was my brother. We just loved watching music videos and watching our favorite artists or favorite bands.
Okay. So as you get introduced to Michael Jackson with your brother, and you starting to learn more about him, watch his music videos, watching him do concerts, things like that. Where did the tribute perform artists become reality? Like, when did you start doing that?
Well, I was a fan for many years, and I didn't dance. I was very shy when I was a kid, so dancing was out of the question. I felt embarrassed just thinking about it. I did learn the moonwalk when I was 12, but it wasn't until when I was 14 years old and I quit soccer that I started dancing. And it was a pure coincidence, not something I had planned, but I needed something to do. I was used to playing sports every day, practicing, and suddenly I couldn't do any of that. So I just needed some activity, and I just decided, let's try and see if I can do some of Michael's moves. So I just tried it out and was able to do a few of the moves, tried some more, and before I knew it, I was hooked.
Okay. So, about how long did it take? Because Michael Jackson is a real uh good dancer. So, and it's not too many people that can do his moves. So, how long did it take you to perfect that?
Oh, it took a long time. Back then, we didn't have YouTube and the internet in general, so I had to wait for some video to come on MTV and record it on my VHS. So getting material to work with took a while. So I worked with what I had, but since I hadn't danced before, it was very hard to teach myself how to dance and just learning the movements. So I had to figure out, how do I do it? Because Michael's really fast, he's really technical. There's a lot of different moves. It's his mannerisms, his body language, all of that. And I really struggled at the beginning figuring out how I was supposed to do this. So what I did was I watched him in slow motion. So I picked up certain moves and decided to practice on one move, and then I played the video in slow. I wore my tapes out doing this. Watched it in slow motion and just practice on repeat repetition over again and over again until I memorized the movement, and just put on the music and try to dance to the music. And then I started watching myself in a silhouette, because I watched myself in a. We didn't have a mobile phone back then, so getting a camera and filming yourself was a little difficult. But the few footage I have, I noticed that it didn't look like Michael. So I was like, okay, how can I make this work? So I started watching myself in a silhouette, and that way you can see whether you're not your body movements resemble Michael. So those were the two main things I used to practice. But after a few years, 2, 3 years, started to get the hang of it. And from there on, just keep developing it. But it takes a while. Learning how to dance like Michael Jackson is an undertaking, to say the least. It's not something you can learn in a few weeks or a few months. You can learn the moves, but if you want to do it like Michael, you have to spend years practicing.
Okay. So, besides you being a big fan of Michael Jackson, um, what would you say is the motivation behind, wanting to do this?
Well, at first it was just a hobby and some activity to do, and I like to have something that I can really spend time on, and to put it in this words, geek out. And I totally geeked out on the Michael Jackson thing, so I just started collecting every single footage I can get my hands on. And as soon as I got my first computer, I went online and just started looking for footage and used that to practice. So my motivation was just simply keep doing it and try to perfect it. And that went on for years. And it wasn't until 2009 I decided I wanted to do it professionally.
Okay. So, I, so the whole situation with you being a tribute artist, is this connected with some other big brands or anything, or is this like just completely independent you?
It's just me, always have been.
Okay. So when you perfected dancing like Michael Jackson and people started to find out that you was doing this, how did Norway, first of all, embrace you, your hometown, and then how, when it got bigger, other people from different countries and stuff start finding out about you and stuff?
Well, before Michael died, there were very few people in Norway that did any type of Michael Jackson dancing. In fact, there are only two tribute artists ever in Norway. There's one Elvis and there's one Michael Jackson. So this was completely unknown in Norway. This has never been done before. And before Michael died, there was pretty much nobody thinking about that this was something that existed. So I didn't do any professional shows. My first professional gig was in Holland in 2005 on a Michael Jackson event. That was my first time performing on a real stage in front of a big audience, and there were 1,000 Michael Jackson fans. So that was a huge thing for me. But when Michael died, something just changed. All of a sudden, everybody in Norway wanted a tribute of Michael Jackson, and I was the only one offering it. So after Michael died, just everybody started calling me because some people in the business had already picked up on a few videos I put online, but it happened really quickly. And after that, it's become more normal with the tributes in Norway, but still only two tribute artists, one Elvis and one Michael Jackson. So the market is very small in Norway. We did try to do a professional tribute show in 2012 and 2013. So I went on tour with this big show that had a lot of musicians, singers, dancers, special effects. But again, Norway is a very small market, so the show itself became too expensive. So they were losing money each show, so they had to cancel it. And since then, I've just been doing private shows and traveling around Norway and performing at private events. Done a little bit television and did one performance in Oslo Spectrum Arena. That's what I'm proud of. That's the same arena that Janet Jackson, Mariah Carey, and Bruno Mars they had concerts in. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, I've just been trying to make a living out of it, but it's not been easy. As I said, it's a very small market. Norway is a small country. There's 5 million people living here, and you kind of have to be a celebrity on TV to get jobs, no matter what you do. So a lot of people in Norway are in my situation. They have some talent, something they do, they want to make a living out of it, but it's very difficult to do. There's very few agencies that can help you out. So when I started using social media, that's when things started to change. And one of the downsides was I didn't have the resources to put out videos. I had YouTube and I had a few videos that I could put out that look good, because I wanted to make professional videos and make professional recreations of Michael's shows. And it wasn't easy to make all that and put it out there. But as soon as Instagram started using Reels, TikTok emerged, I just started recording a lot of footage and putting out there. And since for the past 3-4 years, it's just exploded.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because when I first found your Instagram, I was like, because I always just in general, like I just get on Instagram, go to my Reels tab, and I'll probably go through it for about 30 minutes straight every day, trying to find, because I interview a lot of big music artists too, and business moguls and things like that. So I'll just be scrolling through trying to find the next big thing or something somebody don't know about. And I came across your page. I was like, and he got all these followers, and I ain't never heard nobody talk about him or nothing. So that's when I reached out, and I was just like, man, I was on your page for about 40 minutes, just going through all the videos, and I was like, man, this is some real dope stuff. It kind of remind me of the artist Chris Brown when he first came out, and he was dancing, and people uh um found out how good of a dancer he was, not besides from his music.
Yeah. Well, that's a cool thing is with the technology available now, anybody or anywhere in the world, if they put the work in, they can create a huge following and get noticed. So, and I have just in the recent months, a lot of videos have gone viral, and particularly in the United States. That's interesting. Is that a lot of my videos recently go viral in the United States more than other countries?
Yeah, well, yeah, think about it, Michael Jackson was born in the United States. So, you know, once one person with a decent following comes across to your video, then they're gonna be like, because it's like Michael Jackson was everything in the U.S. So he was everything globally, but the U.S. like where he's from, like it's crazy here. It's like
Yeah,
people.
when I check my analytics and see where my followers come from, it's all over the world, from Asia, Africa, South America, United States, Europe. It's global, so that's amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, I can only imagine, once a few people from the US started to figure out about your videos, it just taking off, because I remember when Michael Jackson died, on BET, they showed that tribute thing for probably about 5, 6 years straight every day.
Mm.
Like you couldn't even watch BET, the movies or nothing for like years. Like they showed Michael Jackson tribute every day for like 5 years. I remember because I was in high school. I was like, man, we can't even watch BET no more. So because they show Michael Jackson every day since he died. Like they was just going through his whole story and showing everything he ever did for like all day.
Yeah, I mean that. It's amazing how his art, music, dancing has spread worldwide after he died. I mean, I see so many young people who never grew up with Michael, and a lot of people who were born after he died discover him. I mean, I teach kids how to dance like Michael Jackson. I've been doing that since 2010. I visit elementary schools in Norway and have dance classes with kids from 6 years old up to 9 years old, and they all know his music. When they get to see the moonwalk, and I teach them some choreo and some moves, and tell them to go home and watch YouTube with their mom and dad, they go nuts. I mean, it's like he came to life all over again after he died, and thanks to the all the technology and the internet and mobile phones and Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, he's spreading a lot faster than he did when he was alive, because you had to have, like, for instance, in Norway in the 80s, we didn't have MTV until 1987, so only a few people knew about Michael's. So his early albums didn't sell that well in Norway. Thriller was never a hit in Norway. That's simply because he got no exposure. But after the internet took off, I mean, everybody knows, and the kids know who Michael Jackson is. I mean, it's a little fun story because there's a lot of stuff going online about Taylor Swift being the new Michael Jackson. And on my workshops, I ask the kids what do they listen to, and I just name a few artists. And every time I name Taylor Swift, they have no idea who that is, but they do know Michael. They know his songs. They know Smooth Criminal. They know Billie Jean. They even have a kid who said "They Don't Care About Us" is my favorite song. And he has no idea what it's about, but he just loved that song. And he was like, "Can you perform it for us?" And I'm like, "Okay, put on the music and I'll do a little dance." So I mean that's what's special about Michael is he's timeless, and he will remain timeless way beyond our lifetime. I'm certain of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing that goes into the factor of Michael Jackson being timeless is that a lot of those kids' parents grew up on Michael Jackson. So even though they was born after Michael Jackson, their parents probably played it around the house, when they was cooking and things like that. Because I know a lot of historical artists that I personally wasn't born for, but when I was born as a kid, my mom playing the Isley Brothers and Aretha Franklin and artists like that, And then as I got older and was able to comprehend how good they were, and it's just crazy, like that whole era from Michael Jackson, like I say it all the time, like from when Michael Jackson first came out, from like any artist from like the 50s to like the late 80s that made that real timeless music, like New Edition, Isley Brothers, Temptations, Jackson 5, all these historical people, they don't make that type of music no more. So the people that still touring, that's still alive, they're still able to make good money because all the new artists don't make that type of music. So when they do pass away, it's a hole in the music industry because don't nobody make that type of music no more.
Yeah, that's true. I've seen a lot of kids comment on the internet that they don't listen to the music of the day. They listen to the old stuff because people who enjoy talent, enjoy good music, they will come to realize that the best music was in the past. And that, I mean, there's still people who make good music, but they don't get promotion. You never hear about them. And that's the sad truth about the industry is that they just want to make money. Talent doesn't sell anymore.
Right. So for your situation, you can say, the emergence of social media was a blessing in disguise for you. Because as you was laying on the groundwork, physically having to go talk to people in person, probably do posters and do physical promotion. Then it turns into, oh, I could just press two buttons and thousands of people know about my stuff,
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you how many times I've been frustrated that I want to make some content, but I can't because back in the day, you had to hire a camera crew, a sound crew, you have to hire a stage, it costs a fortune, and just to make a few videos. And that was really frustrating for me because I had a lot of ideas, a lot of things I wanted to create. And then I got a smartphone, and then I got TikTok, and Instagram started doing reels, and then I can put all those ideas to life. So even though it's not professionally made in a studio, it works. I mean, I can film in my living room, I can go outside and film, and just need the music and start dancing, and that has been a blessing. Without it, nobody would have known I exist except a few fans. And I know that's been the reality for a lot of tribute artists over the years. Some have been lucky, and because they live in countries that have the market, so they have production companies helping them, they have promotional companies helping them, and are able to build their brand and then get their material out there. But a lot of tribute artists have struggled with that, and they give up. That's the sad thing about it, is because to do what I do, you have to make a living. You can't do it for free forever. At a certain point, you have to start making it into a business because it's a full-time job. It requires a lot of time practicing, getting all the costumes and planning, and just sitting thinking about ideas, how I'm going to promote this. And if you can't make a living out of it, at some point you just have to quit. And I've faced that situation many times because I live in a country with a very, very small market. So even today, I have to think: is this going to lead somewhere, or is it a dead end? And if it's a dead end, then I have to rethink: is it a wise idea for me to continue? But with the help of social media and the growth I've had over the past 3 years now, it has inspired me to keep going. A lot of people ask me, why do you still dance at an age of 43? And I always tell them I have so many things I want to do, and as long as my body still is able to dance, I'm not going to quit. It's it's what I love to do. I've been doing it my entire adult life, so I keep pushing. And but I know a lot of, even today, young tribute artists who are struggling because they know it's very difficult to get. There's a lot of people who are doing the same thing, so there's a lot of competition of getting noticed, and you need to have a following. You need to go viral. That's the key.
Absolutely. So you led me into my next question. So, you being 43 years old, you're a little bit up in age. So I would have to imagine that you have to take care of your body, watch what you put into your body and things like that to be able to still dance with the precision that you want when you putting out these videos.
Oh yeah, definitely. Interesting. I thought about this when I was younger because I watched Michael, and as he got older, I noticed that his dancing wasn't as sharp as it used to be. I assumed it was because of age, but I've learned after he died that he had a lot of health problems. And one of his friends, a guy called Omer Bhatti, he's from Norway. He was friends with Michael. They lived on Neverland for several years. He did an interview right after he died, and he was asked the question, "Did Michael work out?" to be able to dance. And he said Michael hated working out.
Mm.
And I learned that when you pass a certain age, when you pass the age of 35, you have to start doing, for example, cardio. If you don't do cardio, your physique is gonna decline pretty quickly. It's not enough just to dance, but you have to keep dancing as well. So the thing I do is just I practice almost every day. I have a bicycle. I don't drive a car, so I ride my bicycle wherever I go. I walk, and I just keep myself active. Once you stop, your physique is going to go down pretty quick. So if I take a 2-week break now, my body's going to feel really heavy. I can get back up, but I will feel it. And yeah, I mean, I still feel that I can still do the things I always have been able to do, but I have to maintain my body a lot more. And I try to eat healthy as much as I can. And I don't party anymore. Quit that. Barely touch alcohol. And just get my vitamins and get my sleep. Sleep is important. That's one of the things Michael struggled with. He didn't sleep. And restitution is incredibly important when you get older. You have to rest your body. You have to recharge your batteries. So I can use one example. When I was like 15, 16 years old, I loved putting on a Michael concert and dance the whole concert, 2 hours straight. Just go full speed for 2 hours. And I could do that 2 times in a row. But if I do a full show now, 2 hours, I'm done for the day and maybe the next day. So it takes a lot longer to recharge when you get older. That's also something that's changed. So, but I'm still able to do it the way I always done. And I think I can keep going for several years. I mean, you know Jackie Chan?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he kept doing movies in his 40s and his 50s, and still fit. And I read that they're thinking about doing Rush Hour 4 with Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan. And Jackie Chan is 68 years old. So I'm wondering to see how it will be when he does that martial arts things, almost 70 years old. But, you know, if you keep practicing and stay in shape, you can go on for years.
Absolutely. So, this whole experience of you being a tribute artist, when you look back on it from everything you experienced so far, when you think about all your fans out there that loves your videos, love going to your page, um, just kind of describe some of the feedback that you get from people, like, you know, whether they be comments, direct messages, you know, people just the positive feedback that you get from people.
Oh, I get a lot of messages every single day. I try to read as much as possible, and I read the comments, and I sense joy. They get a lot of joy watching my videos, and they get entertained. That's important. It's very important to entertain the audience. And I know Michael. I know how his show concept works. I know what people want to see, so I try to give them that plus a little bit extra. But what I get most is that they get, for a lot of people, those who grew up with Michael still feel the loss of him dying. A lot of people didn't get to see him live and just felt that we lost something very important. And they get to relive that through tribute artists. And a lot of tribute artists experience the same thing. And then there's the new generation of kids that couldn't have seen him live because they weren't alive when he was performing. They get that experience by watching other people. So I get the feeling that it's that people are inspired and they get to relive the magic of Michael Jackson. That's what I want to give every time I do a video or if I do a live performance. I want the people to feel that magic. I've seen Michael live, so I know what it feels like, and it's a very special feeling. You to describe it like Michael viewed it. You get sucked into this magical world and go for a roller coaster ride and come out just feeling reborn. You feel alive again. And if I can give that to people, then that's a huge motivation for me and a satisfaction for my part, and that I can give that to people. So, and I see that in the feedback that they're getting that feeling. They want to. want to see more videos. And then I get a lot of requests. I want to see you dance to this song. I want to see you do this choreo. Even some people have said, when I do songs that Michael never performed, I try to imagine how would Michael dance to this song. So I have to create, I have to improvise. And so for them, it's kind of like they get to imagine with me how this performance would look like if Michael performed it. And I find that very cool. That's a very cool thing to explore. And so I take them on a ride, the Michael Jackson magic rides. That's pretty much what it is. And I see that on the feedback that that's what they're getting. And that makes me happy.
Absolutely, that's dope. So for all your followers out there, list some things you like doing in your spare time when you're not dancing.
Well, I like to ride my bicycle, so I get out and take a ride anywhere just to for a workout. But also, I like being outside. That's a typical Norwegian thing. We don't see it inside that much, but I like watching television series. I relax a lot. I read a lot, follow the news, and just I stay active most of the time. I rarely sit still, but I don't know. I live a rather peaceful life. It's not a lot of stress in my life at this point. It was maybe a little bit more back in the day, but just try to enjoy every day. I wake up feeling fresh, new day, maybe do some dancing, take a walk outside, just be happy to be alive. And I'm satisfied with that. There's a lot of people in Norway who are more into traveling and going on vacation and going this and there. I'm more like reserved in that department. I'm very introverted, so I like peace and quiet. And you get a lot of that in Norway. So right now when we're talking, there's not a sound outside. I live in a city, but there's not a sound. So I'm really content right now.
Absolutely. So what are your short and long term goals? What do you want to accomplish?
My short-term goals and my long-term, kind of the same thing now, is to try to do more things outside of Norway. I had some talks with some people in the United States. I feel I could do a lot of stuff in the States, both in terms of my workshops, teach kids how to dance like Michael, and I want something I still haven't done is to have my own show and go on tour.
No, yeah,
Something
that
I've been trying to do here in Norway, but it's been impossible because in the industry in Norway there's no interest in tribute artists. I mean, the Elvis tribute artist I mentioned, he's one of the best in the world. He went to Vegas some years ago and was in a world championship for Elvis tribute artists and came in third.
wow.
He's a yeah, I've seen him live. He's amazing, and even he struggles to do his own thing. So it's really difficult to do such things in Norway. So I hope to get outside of Norway, preferably to the United States, because that's a huge market for tributes. But I'm open to anything. I mean, I know Michael is big in Asia. He's big in Europe. I mean, in UK, in Germany, in France, Italy, Spain. Michael is big. There's a lot of tribute artists there who are on tour with their own shows. So hopefully, this social media thing will lead to that. That someone will pick up on my content and my vision, because my vision is to recreate Michael's shows to give people the magic of Michael Jackson performances, which includes the dancing and the visual effects, the special effects, costumes, all of it, just to let them experience that magic. And that's what drives me to create my own show.
Okay. So for the rest of the 2023 and beginning of 2024, what you got planned? What you got coming?
Well, now now school has started again in Norway, so I'm going to visit a lot of schools and do my workshops. Looking forward to that. And Christmas season is coming soon, so there will be some performances at some private parties, and we'll see. I'll just keep putting out content on social media and see where that leads. See if we can get even bigger, get more followers, and go viral even more, so I can reach my goal. And that's, people ask me what's the one thing you want to do before you retire, and that is to tour with my own show. If I get to do that, I feel I've accomplished everything I want. So we'll see. There's some things that I can't talk about that are a little secret. It revolves around the United States. Some people have contacted me, so I'm waiting to see if something pops up. But yeah, we'll see where it goes.
Okay. So give me your Mount Rushmore. Give me your top 5 entertainers all time.
Michael, Prince. Let me think. Freddie Mercury.
Hmm.
Yeah. Who's number 4? There's so many. I have to pick one. Well, you have to take bands as well. I mean, I love Metallica.
Hmm.
That's like that's like the most hardcore metal thing out there, in my opinion. You have to blast Metallica on full volume on a big sound system if you have it, or watch them live. I haven't done that yet, so I hope to get to watch them live one day. And I like Elvis. I
Hmm.
always liked Elvis. I think he's a great entertainer. His live shows, the way he performs, I always enjoyed watching that. But there's so many. I mean, you have James Brown, you have Madonna. I like Madonna. Bruno Mars. I like Bruno Mars. Uh, but the first 5 I will put on the top with Michael as number 1.
Okay. So closing remarks, anything else that you want to say to the people that you got going on, and let people know how to keep up with you on social media and things like that?
Yeah, just first, I really appreciate people following me, watching my videos, commenting, and I'm so happy that what I do entertains people and give them joy and inspiration and a little bit of that Michael magic, which is why I do what I do. And keep supporting Michael. Don't listen to the media. They're full of shit. They always have been. I follow Michael for over 30 years, and I've seen how they try to ruin his legacy. And the fan community is amazing at keeping track of everything and making sure that the public know the truth. So don't let them fool you, and then don't let them spread all that misinformation about Michael. And I will do my part. I have a huge platform now, so if they start spreading lies about Michael, I will be on their case. I already have Norwegian media already got some articles out there that was completely untrue, so I just started sending emails and correcting them. I've done that before. And keep Michael's legacy alive. Just keep streaming, and for the love of God, start streaming his music. That's one thing the fan community has to improve on, is start streaming his music so he goes up on the charts. Because his songs trends all the time. So keep streaming his music, watch his videos, make Michael content, and just spread the message. And his message is love, LOVE. So I'm going to do my part, and you're going to do your part.
Absolutely. Well, man, I appreciate you coming on the show. This is something different. You're the first guest that I had in this type of field. So it'll be different for all my followers out there that listen to my podcast. So be pretty dope people to hear, because I'm a big believer on everybody should has a story, and everybody deserves to tell their story, because it's easy for someone to kind of go to your page and see the end result, see what you're doing now, but they don't know the struggles that you had to endure to get the platform that you got now, and to get the attention and the opportunities that you got along the way. So I think that's very important, because you might have a 14, 15-year-old kid out there that had the same mindset that you had when you was a kid, and will probably want to do the same thing for either the same artist or another artist, that they love.
Well, I appreciate you having me on. Appreciate that very much. Get to talk to you from the United States, so people in the United States get to know me a little better. And before I forget, if you want to learn to dance like Michael, I have tutorials on TikTok that I sell, where I go through a lot of the moves. And one of the things that separates me from, there's a lot of tutorials online about Michael's dancing, but what separates mine from them is I teach you how to practice. So if you want to learn how to move like Michael, you should check out my tutorials. I'll give you some insight on how I do it. So people out there can use that to improve themselves, because Michael's dancing is extremely popular. There's a lot of people who want to learn how to dance like Michael. But it's not easy. So with my help, I can make it a lot easier. So just I have to mention that.
Okay. And list your social medias, your TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, all that stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty easy to find. Just search my name, either if you're on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram. It's Kent, Kent, and Olaf, Olaf. And I'm the only one with that name connected to Michael Jackson. So that is at Kent Olaf. My last name, Steinhaug. Sorry, it's at Kent Olaf on TikTok, and on Instagram, it's KOSMJ Tribute Artist. That's my initials. And KOS Kent Olaf on YouTube. But just search Kent Olaf. I will pop up on the top very easily. So I'm easy to find.
Okay. Well, yeah, man. I appreciate you coming on the show, man. And anytime you want to come on the show, man, you can hit me up anytime. I do episodes all the time.
Yeah, sure will. Thank you for having me on.